You're all very welcome to the first session of the Digital Educator Awards Scotland. And, I hope that from today's session, you're going to learn a lot and that you're going to find this program something that you're going to be enthusiastic about and that you will take it forward over the next couple of months. And we're going to map out what the journey looks like for you. I just want to take a quick moment to give you a little bit of context. So we've been working on the Digital Educator Award Scotland for the past 3 years, and it was probably subsequent to discussions after COVID that we were really talking about how we can continue to support schools, but really focusing in on educators, looking at how we can support that sort of digital skills, competence, and progression. And there's so much happening in this space. The Digital Schools Awards obviously has been working in Scotland over 10 years now, and we really wanted to look at this very, very important area, which is all about the professional competence and the digital skills for educators working in Scotland. So we have, at this point in time, we have about 154 educators and support staff and local authorities taking part in the programme and signed up and registered, but the numbers will continue to grow for this first phase of the programme. We are delighted to be joined again by Intel and HP as our key partners and Education Scotland in Scotland. So together we have developed this programme, really aligning it to all of the Scottish national policies. So the aims of this programme is to support educators around the national improvement plans, around supporting them in terms of implementing Education Scotland digital skills for educators framework, which is new and I'm sure you're all familiar with, but also taking on board the skills and the knowledge that our industry partners, HP and Intel, can bring. And in particular, delighted to be joined by Paula and Jason and HP, but also Emmanuel, Luigi, Stefan, and the team in Intel Skills for Innovation. And part of today, we're going to take you through how you can benefit from those resources that HP and Intel can bring to educators in Scotland. There is going to be a lot of information, shared in today's session, and I'm very grateful to my colleague, Catherine Jewett, who's going to take you through today's agenda. Whilst there's a lot of information, I just want to sort of reaffirm that it's a sit back and listen session. So today, the agenda will be who we are, the programme aims and the eligibility criteria. Explain the 3 award pathways. So you see here we have digital educator, digital influencer, and digital leader. So to explain what are they, who is relevant, and then what those awards are all about. But also to give you the roadmap, so give you the key milestones and how we as Digital Educator Awards will support you through that. To share how the Intel Skills for Innovation will roadmap and align to each of the award criteria, and also hopefully to give you a bit in terms of why you should participate, what are the benefits of the programme, why it matters, and what the impact is. We have our team, Aoife and Kate, so anybody who's familiar with the Digital Schools Awards will know Aoife and Kate very well. So there is going to be a lot of support available to all of the participants on the programme. So we will have our info@digitaleducatораwards.com email address for any queries, but we're also setting up a Teams channel within Glow dedicated to participants who are taking part in the programme. So you'll be able to sort of access the link there, join that Teams channel, and we'll use that as a facility to communicate and collaborate with you. And finally, before I hand over to Catherine, I just want to say an enormous thank you to the 4 local authorities and the teams, the digital learning teams that are supporting us in this first phase of the launch. So Erin and Charlie from Aberdeen City, Jenny from Dundee, Kerry from Falkirk, and Susan Ward from Midlothian. We are so grateful to you for your support, and I know that you will be working very closely with all of your educators and with us to make sure that you are supported through this process. So without any further delay, I will hand over to Catherine. And at the end of today, we will have some time for questions. And then, as I said, we'll continue to communicate with you. And there will be an email at the end with next steps. Thanks very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Jewett, and thank you very much for attending today. Really looking forward to giving you a whistle-stop tour of the Digital Educator Awards Scotland today, and hopefully you'll leave today with everything that you need to get started. So in terms of the programme aims, Digital Educator Awards Scotland, or DEAS or DEES, aims to recognise educators who excel in digital pedagogy, leadership and innovation. The awards are free and accessible to all educational practitioners, promoting inclusivity and broad participation across all educational sectors. And the award is consistent across all of Scotland's education phases and levels, from early years setting right through to higher education. The Ds aim to support professional learning as well. So the programme provides checklists for the use of artificial intelligence in teaching and learning, with guidance for both teachers and pupils. We also have the Intel Skills for Innovation content, which you'll learn a bit more about today in today's session, which uses a wealth of resources and structured activities to enable educators to initiate curriculum-based digital learning and teaching activities. The awards aim to enhance digital capacity as well across the Scottish education workforce. Scotland leads digital education by encouraging knowledge sharing and collaboration and strategic integration of digital tools in teaching. And that's very much the approach of the Digital Education Awards as well. The peer review structure that is included in these awards as well is designed to stimulate strong dialogue within and beyond schools and institutions. The evidence required is practice-based and outcome-focused. And finally, the Digital Education Awards align with digital teaching practices as well, by linking the programme to key policy initiatives and current teaching and learning trends in education. It incentivizes the embedding of these agendas in ways that help educators maintain their focus on supporting quality teaching and learning. So the programme is grounded in a number of different frameworks and guidelines. A few are shown on the screen now. So things like the Essential Digital Skills Framework, Digital Skills for Scottish Educators, the Professional Standards for Lecturers in Scotland's colleges, the ISTE Standards for Higher Education, and many AI frameworks and guidelines as well. So who is the award for? Well, it's open to absolutely all educational practitioners in all areas of education and training, from early years right through to higher education, across the spectrum, and across all roles. So everyone is invited to apply. And I'm going to talk about the three awards now. So starting with the Digital Educator Award, this is the first pathway, which is targeted at those working in the classroom, doing excellent digital work and wanting to be recognised for that work. So this could be an early years practitioner, a teacher or a teaching assistant. This is not necessarily someone who is influencing others, but they are making excellent progress in using digital skills, which are part of the wider school programme. So the Digital Educator Award is for those that are achieving the digital skills framework and promoting that framework in the classroom. And to achieve the Digital Educator Award, the app needs to provide evidence against 5 criteria, which here on the slide. So essential and core skills, awareness of current and future developments, enhancing learning and teaching, communicating and collaborating, and cyber resilience and internet safety. For all of the 3 awards, you are asked to submit a maximum of 5 pieces of evidence against each of the criteria within that award pathway. So I really want you to be selective. It might be that you don't need 5 pieces of evidence, but for the Digital Educator Awards, that would mean a maximum of 25 pieces of evidence. So we really don't want you to do, loads of work tracking down lots of evidence and submitting that. We want you to be really selective and be reflective, and really consider what's the best pieces of evidence to demonstrate that I meet the criteria. The second award is the Digital Influencer Award, and this is for teachers or heads of departments, digital leads in nurseries and schools, digital leads in local authorities, and others who can demonstrate how they are supporting and developing others in their digital skills development through formal or informal CPD. So a digital influencer may be working across other schools in their cluster. Evidence for this award focuses on supporting others technically and pedagogically, and not necessarily strategically. This person, a digital influencer, is likely to be influencing horizontally across the school. A digital influencer may not be in a position of leadership or developing policy, but they may be influencing and supporting and training teachers and other staff members. For the Digital Influencer Award, this is demonstrated here like a propeller. There are 3 blades to the propeller, 3 areas of criteria that you need to meet. And again, no more than 5 pieces of evidence to submit against it. So the main headings are innovative practice, sustained use of digital tools to support and teaching and learning, and impact, how you're demonstrating impact. And then the third award, the third pathway, is the Digital Leader Award, and this person is affecting strategic change. This is the big difference between the Influencer Award and the Digital Leader Award, is that the digital leader is making policy decisions either in their school or across schools in a cluster. So digital leaders have the ability to influence decisions and are likely to be a senior teacher or a digital coordinator, a principal or a head teacher in a school. And there are 5 criteria to meet for the Digital Leader Award demonstrated here. So digital policy development, impact of CLPL, digital innovation, sectoral policy implementation, and using digital for audits. So perhaps using digital technology to review and manage the school in administrative practices, and reviewing against other guidelines and policies, and tracking your progress against things using digital. So I'm now going to talk through a roadmap to success and the roadmap to follow in achieving one or more of the awards. So at a very high level, there are 5 stages to the award process. The first one is the initiation and completing registration. The second stage is then taking action. You will agree on a peer reviewer for your award. You'll start to review your practice using the frameworks and the award criteria provided. And you might study some Intel Skills for Innovation courses as well. In stage 3, that's the application stage, where you'll start to upload evidence and submit your award application. In stage 4, that's the validation stage, where your application will undergo peer review and validator sign-off. And then the final stage is to celebrate and share your success. So you might be contacting the local press or your local radio station, posting on social media and other communication channels. If you've got a podcast or a website, or writing a blog. So lots of different ways that you might want to think about celebrating at the end. This is a little bit more of a detailed roadmap, and you'll be able to access these slides and resources afterwards as well. So if we start at the left-hand side, the first stage is to register and confirm your award. So you'll register, you're attending the launch today, or you're listening to the recording, and then you'll register on the website, on the portal, and confirm your chosen awards. And you will also review your checklist as well. There's an applicant checklist that you can view from the Digital Educator Awards website. In step 4, you'll then agree on your peer reviewer, give them the peer reviewer checklist, and ask them to register on the Digital Educator Awards Scotland website. Just to note that for applicants, peer reviewers and validators, if you are already registered on the Digital Schools Awards website, then there's no requirement for you to register again. You'll be able to log in using the same details once we've added you to the Digital Educator Awards Scotland website. So no need for you to register again if that's the case. Then applicants will start to review their practice using the frameworks and the award criteria. They'll be attending Intel training webinars, which we're going to talk about a bit later. You are also invited to attend fortnightly writing retreats to work on your application, and I'll give you a bit more detail about writing retreats in a moment. And you'll continue progressing, attending fortnightly writing retreats, working on your application, reviewing your evidence, building up your evidence, completing courses. You'll also meet with your peer reviewer every so often, and that's for you to agree how often. We are sort of suggesting 20 minutes each month for 3 months, so an hour in total. Peer reviewers and validators will also attend their own training as well in preparation for applicants submitting their application. Following the submission of the application, peer reviews and validator reviews will take place. And then finally, in step 14, it's celebrating and sharing success. I mentioned briefly the checklist. So there is checklists that you can download from the Digital Educator Awards Scotland website for each of the roles. So whether you're an applicant or a peer reviewer or a validator, or you may be a mix of two or all three of those roles, there's a checklist for you to download. It's just a one-pager handout, and it lists what you need to be doing month by month so that you can keep on track of progress and keep on track leading up to the deadline. So there's one of those for the applicant, again for the peer reviewer, and again for the validator. The online writing retreats, we have organised writing retreats to take place every fortnight following the launch. And we strongly encourage you, wherever possible, to block out time to attend all of the writing retreats if you can, or as many as you can. And the dates and times will be made available to you on the website and the portal. The retreats are designed to give you dedicated, uninterrupted time to work on your application, and it's anticipated that completing your application will take around 10 hours. So by booking a series of retreats will help ensure that you've got sufficient time planned in order to complete your award. So when you register, we really want you to be successful, and to do that, we're supporting you through that with these writing retreats, because we don't want you to come to April. The deadline for submitting your application is the 30th of April. We don't want you to hit April and then there's Easter holidays and you're under pressure and not able to succeed. We want everybody who registers to be successful in this programme and to achieve their award. So by blocking out these writing retreats, they are running 4 o'clock till 5:30. Every fortnight. There's a choice of dates, and it's an opportunity for you to join online in these writing retreats, to block time to write and work on your application, or to work on your evidence, or perhaps to study an Intel course during that time. You can join the online room, you can dip in and out of the room. It's completely flexible and optional how you want to use these writing retreats. It's an opportunity to ask questions about your application, receive guidance, and have that protected space, as I say, to write and reflect. And in addition, you may have the chance to peer review colleagues' applications, which can provide valuable insight and feedback to strengthen your own submission. So in terms of the writing retreats, it really offers a supportive community. You'll be working alongside others who are preparing their applications, creating a supportive environment that can help maintain focus and motivation. You'll have an expert who will be facilitating, so the retreats are facilitated by experienced colleagues in the Digital Educator Awards Scotland, and they can offer advice and examples and clarification on the award criteria. There is flexibility, as I say, so whilst attendance is really strongly encouraged, we recognise that your schedules vary. So even if you can only attend, say, 1 or 2 sessions, that can really help and towards your progress. And then participants from previous programs as well have reported that structured writing time significantly increases their confidence and the quality of their final submission. And by blocking out this time, previous candidates have taken part in the pilot have said that having that blocked writing time is really important. So that writing retreats can help you succeed. I won't go through this timeline in too much detail because this will be made available to you afterwards. But it's just to show that month by month, there are lots of things going on to support you in your achieving your award, writing retreats and training and opportunities to study the Intel courses. There is peer reviewer and validator training taking place in March. And as I say, writing retreats are taking place fortnightly across February, March and April. The deadline to submit applications is the 30th of April, and then in the first half of May, peer reviews will take place, and the second half of May, validator reviews will take place. So if there are peer reviewers and validators here today, just to let you know that you'll have a separate training webinar and resources to support you too. So this session is mainly focusing on applicants today, but great that you're able to hear this side of things as well. So let me hand over to Emmanuel now to talk about the Intel skills for innovation.
Thank you, Catherine. And again, thank you everyone who took our time to join today. We are extremely excited, elated even, about the 2026 D's Awards Scotland. Reaching out to all the audiences here and everyone represented here. On the call is my senior colleague Luigi also, and the Intel team who sends our regard. We are excited to be doing this again in 2026. And Intel SFI is such a great fit for this award, as you will see in the next couple of slides, and how it is poised to elevate the learning experience, not just for the award, but also for your journey in interacting and bringing together the use of technology in the classroom to impact new learning experience. Just briefly on this slide, I want to just share with you Intel's three pillar. Intel's involvement in education and in changing lives is to build education systems that are resilient, which means they are flexible and they are quick to adapt, they are quick to transform. As we know, education and pedagogy, as we know it, has changed very drastically. And Intel's commitment to ensuring that both on the technology and also the resource side of things, we continue to blaze the trail in providing systems that are very flexible and quick to change, to be useful, and also providing tools that allow educators to make sense of AI. AI is not a facade, it has come to stay. And one of Intel's commitments is to ensure that both on the technology and on the hardware and on the resources, we have enough for our educators globally to have a great starting off point. And of course, this also extends to investing in digital skills building, first for the educator and more extensively for all the learners in and outside of the classroom. Next slide, please. And how do we do that? Specifically for Intel Skills for Innovation, we have the Intel SFI mindsets and skill sets. This is the framework by which the Intel Skills for Innovation program builds, extends, and develops its content. All our learning materials uses a combination of one or more of the skill sets and mindset. Very quickly, if you look at the top section, the one with the bluish color, you would see quickly that they are technical skills, and these are the most pervasive technical skills whenever the conversation about technology, innovation, using technical skills, computer relevant skills in the classroom come to bear. At the second layer is the mindset. Now, technical skills on their own don't do a lot of good. It is the combination of these technical skills and creative skills that actually prefer solutions, not just in the classroom, but also in life generally. It is on this basis that we have the combination of the skill sets and the mindsets in all our content. So if you are thinking, if you have interacted with SFI content before, you would quickly attest to this. But if you haven't, it is a great way to get started on the new style of learning experience in the classroom. And all of this is targeted at creating a social, emotionally adjusted individual, both for the classroom and for the society at large. In one sentence, Intel SFI's goal is to integrate technology using everyday subjects to bring about a new learning experience in the classroom. Next slide, please. SFI is a global program with a global reach. We are available, active even in over 150 countries. So you are getting access to a renowned, a resourceful, and also a very rich library of resources. And you are going to be directly connecting to educators across the globe. This year's version of the D's Award poised to be very promising in that not only are you going to be exposed to the SFI content, you are going to be exposed to the SFI community. So this is the first. Every participant of the D's Awards program is going to be exposed to the SFI global community, where you'd have the opportunity to reach out to educators from different parts of the world, learning materials, success stories, SFI ambassadors, which we have about 400 plus of them, access to over 300,000 teachers, and to over 100 plus partners. So it provides you a rich, ready to use resource that you can get started right almost immediately after this call. And we look to see you take advantage of all the resources available from Intel Skills for Innovation. Please, next slide. Okay, so the focus, our alignment with the D's award is strictly and more particularly on the Intel SFI professional development. Over my next couple of slides, I'm going to show just a high level of what the professional development courses are and how they are aligned with the D's award and the training and support plan that the Intel SFI team is providing to all the attendants and participants of these awards. So you're not left alone. We are well available to, in many ways, even handhold you through the entire learning process so you feel very confident in your pursuit of the awards categories. Generally speaking, the purpose of the PD suites that we have at Intel SFI is to equip every learner. Um, if either you're an educator in the classroom, you're an instructional coach, if you are involved in learning in any way, it is to equip you with the skills you require to adapt technology in whatever teaching environment you find yourself, virtual or physical. The ability to create technology infused learning experiences. As you know, as you well know, today's learners have really transformed the pedagogy landscape in that there is a lot more calls for mixed mode of learning, and the Intellectify PD suits introduce you slowly but very steadily into concepts, paradigms, best practices, templates that you can use to get started on how to take your learning style into new levels using technology without without hurting the integrity of the subject that you teach. So SFI is not here to change what a physics class is supposed to look like or what a maths class is supposed to look like. It is here to elevate the learning experience of this particular subject. And of course, to keep the educator up to date with learning trends and concepts that are impacting the student future, especially with relevance to the future of work. It is important as educators, we become the bridge to midwife today's learners to become tomorrow's professionals. Next slide, please. And how do we do that? We provide a variety of professional development courses. The first I'll speak of is the Intel SFI PD Suite, which is a combination of 80 hours of e-learning, and in some cases it will be in-person workshop that we would employ in this case, that has 4 levels. For the purpose, Catherine, if you want to just click on each of it so that the entire levels will show up. Yeah, thank you. And for the purpose of the D's award, we're going to be selecting some of the courses. However, we will strongly encourage that you take out time in your own personal schedule to go through all the courses available within the Intel SFI PD suite at your own time. These courses are self-paced. They don't have a timer on them, so there's no pressure to complete it on that particular time. However, we're encouraged that when you commence the learning, that you would stay through it and then get the most out of the learning experience. On top of this, next slide, if you will, we also have one of our recently rolled out professional development courses that addresses more specifically the use and implementation of AI in the classroom for educators. This is an upgrade from the last partnership we had with Digital Awards Scotland. These are 3 specific courses that tackle how educators should approach the subject of AI, how what are the best practices for ethical AI within the classroom, and of course, the conversation of accessible learning using AI. These courses will all be part of these awards category framework. I think that will be the next slide also. Next, please. Yes, so here's where I wanted to get to. With regards to the D's framework, we have outlined the select Intel SFI PD courses that are mapped to the D's framework. And if you look at from the first one for the core skills, cyber resilience, and internet safety, you would see 1, 2, 3, 4 courses. And these courses, over the course of the following weeks, we are going to have 2 webinars on the 18th, I believe, and 19th of February, Intel SFI webinars, where myself and my team will do a deep dive into each of these courses, enough to get the participants started on how to approach the courses, what are the things to look out for. Our Intel SFI PD courses are very interactive. Anyone who has taken them in this call would attest to that. Mixed mode learning, combination of text, visuals, call outs, and discussions with other educators. So I will encourage you to go through them. Each of the 5 key framework areas, I think the next slide has the remaining 2. Each of them has the individual outlines of the SFI PD courses that is mapped to each of these. So I want to believe that the audience, the participants will receive either a copy of this or some information about this and how to, within the time you've been allocated to do this, go through each of them. I'd like to make a note here. You can take any of the courses here in any order. There is no, it's not there's no symmetry to it. What we do encourage is, as a best practice, if you want to use the boxes, for example, if your focus is on career long professional learning and leadership, I would suggest that you take those courses the way that you see them. It provides sort of a stratified learning approach These are best practices, but it's not a recommendation, so to speak. So whatever order you choose to go, you'll still get the most out of it. But this provides the best possible outcome from using the courses. Next slide, please. Our PD courses are tied to rewards. We understand the effort educators take out to take these learning materials, and we well understand the need to celebrate them. Every piece of course content that is completed comes with a joint branded course certificate of completion. This is both for the course, and in the next slide will show you the level. Participants have the opportunity to get either a course level certificate and a level certificate. So it is important that in the time you've taken, you're committed to this, you want to complete as much as you can of the Intel SFI PD so you can take advantage of this. And just for a side note, this will do you well when we get to the conversation about the Intel SFI Ambassador Program, which is one of the additional benefits in this year's awards. Participants of the Educator, Influencer, and the Leadership ones have the opportunity to be inducted into the Intel SFI Silver and Gold Ambassador Program. So there's so many benefits for participants this year. I am elated, excited about it in many ways. So at this level, you will receive either certificates for course completion and certificates for level completion, and also badges. These badges allow you to use them in your mail signature. You can share it on your social media. From time to time, SFI Community Online reshares this, so you get amplified visibility for your achievements. I believe next slide. So on this, what will be the path forward? Well, if you are yet to, I believe a link must have been shared with the participants here. If you are yet to fill that form, but if you want to do it directly, you can go onto the SFI platform. However, we are pre-registering some users. If you're yet to do so, I believe some a link has been shared in some way. Please do ensure that your details are populated in that Microsoft form. I just seen a note from Duncan. Yes, it is free. Now, we really take that for granted. I must say that again. The Intel SFI program is valued at over $3,000 per educator. However, this is Intel's gift to the educator world. So it is free of use. All the resources, all the content, including the certificates, this comes to you free of use. Intel has taken the cost for it. Yeah. Okay, so back to this. The registration code is Digital Awards SFI for those who would like to explore and go to the platform to register directly. However, you might want to use the link that was shared, the auto enrollment link. Yes, Anna just posted that. So as soon as we have that, we are stalling till Friday, till Wednesday. By Wednesday, the SFI team will commence something called an auto enrollment, where we pre-register the participants into this program. What you will need to do from then is just to create your username password. You don't need to bother about the registration code there. But just for the sake of information, the registration code is Digital Awards SFI. We look forward to seeing you on the platform. We are excited about this year's cohorts, and we are available to support you till the next time we meet in perhaps a couple of weeks. Thank you for joining, and we look forward to a rewarding experience for this year's D's Award.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Really exciting. And just to recap on what Emmanuel said as well, that there are two further webinars. They're the same, so you only need to attend one of them. But Emmanuel and the Intel team will be talking in much more detail about the course program and the ambassador program. Such fabulous, really high quality professional learning that's available to you free of charge. And along alongside that as well, Intel will be attending the start of all our writing retreats as well, to give a 10-minute talk about one of the courses and give some more hints and tips and direct you into your professional learning as well. So this will continue throughout as you're preparing for your award. This access will continue. So let's talk about impact, and then I'm going to be talking in more detail about next steps, and talking about choosing a peer reviewer, and talking about the role of the validator as well, and giving you some more detail on that as well. So if you're thinking, why should I apply for the Digital Educator Award? Well, there are lots of reasons, and Emmanuel's given you quite a few there to convince you just how brilliant this program is. But just some other things as well on the slide here is that it is professional accreditation. You are gaining national visibility for your digital innovation. As successful applicants will receive formal recognition of their specialist knowledge and practice. And this demonstrates expertise to both current and prospective employers. So really good for you to travel with you throughout your career. Everybody who achieves a Digital Educator Award will be entitled to the post nominals after their name. So for the Digital Educator Award, you'll be entitled to use the letters DSA-DE after your name, DSA-DI for the digital influencer, and DSA-DL for the digital leader. So there's an example there. If you're called Jane Smith, then you'd write your name and then have the post nominals after your name. You will also receive a certificate in recognition of your Digital Educator Award. You'll be publicly recognised as well, listed on our website, publicly recognised for your expertise. You'll also receive a digital badge, so that can be useful to add to your email signature or your website or blog. And as I said, your award travels with you throughout your career, so you can showcase how you are leading your digital education journey. I've talked earlier about the collaborative community aspect of this award as well, through the peer review process, which I'll talk about in a bit, how that can really help to be collaborative, and also connecting with peers across Scotland through the scheme, sharing ideas and network through the writing retreats and through our Microsoft Teams channel as well. And other events that your local authority might arrange, or your school, and just things that you might arrange as well yourself through your cluster colleagues as well. And of course, as Emmanuel talked about, the access to the Intel Skills for Innovation Professional Development Suite as well. So let's have a look at next steps. So this month, we've still got a few days left of January. We'd like you to register your expression of interest to join the programme and receive an invitation to the induction webinar, which if you're attending this webinar now or listening to the recording, then you've done that already. So you're attending the induction webinar now, either live or listening to the recording. After that, we ask you then to confirm which award or awards you would like to apply for, and we'll share a link with you in the chat in a moment to give feedback on the webinar and to be able to complete that confirmation if you'd like to proceed and carry on, and what award you'd be interested in applying for. There are the checklist and timelines for each of the roles, so applicant, peer reviewer and validator, and it may be that you are doing one, two or all three of those roles. The checklists are available on the Digital Educator Awards website to download from the resources section there. And there are also frequently asked questions that we are collating and putting on the website as well. And then moving into February, we encourage you to agree on your peer mentor very early on, as early as possible, if you can. And when we decided on the peer review, we were very conscious that one important aspect of school development is the conversations that teachers have about teaching and learning. And what we wanted to do in the award was create a space for those professional conversations about digital learning and teaching to take place between the applicant and the peer reviewer, and also within a wider circle as well, which is why we are setting up the Microsoft Teams channel and also having the online writing retreats as well, which also provide a space for professional conversations to take place across institutions. The creation of this dialogue, both within schools and among schools, is what the peer review is all about. We are not asking peer reviewers to mark applications or act as an inspector in any way. We're asking you to engage in conversation. So the applicant and the peer mentor will engage in conversation. Ideally, a peer reviewer should be from within your school or your institution, but if that's not possible, it could be someone from another school, perhaps in your cluster. It could be perhaps a member from the local authority if it's really not possible for you to have a peer mentor. Or depend, we appreciate that sometimes your school might be small and there just might not be somebody suitable. So if that's the case, we'll work around that. And and if none of those options are available to you, then a member of the Digital Education Educator Awards Scotland team could act as your peer mentor as well. The peer reviewer should ideally be a person who knows what you're doing in your school. Ideally, your peer reviewer will have an overview of what good digital learning and teaching looks like and how, and knows the value of the sort of work that you're doing and the digital activities that you're engaging in, and know the pedagogical value of the activities that you're engaging in too. As I said earlier, there is separate training scheduled for peer reviewers and validators, but just to say that as a peer reviewer or a validator, you'll have plenty of support. There are prompts and tips to help you as you write your final report and carry out that peer review or validation against the criteria, looking at the evidence that the applicant submitted. In terms of the validator role, that is to oversee the process of the peer review. And as I say, I'll talk about this in more detail when we carry out the peer mentor and reviewer training. But just to say at this point, we're not expecting validators to examine everything. That's not your role. What we're expecting the validator to do is to verify that the process was robust and that the process of peer review did what it was supposed to do, and that it's had the conversations and is recognising the good work achieved by the applicant. And perhaps you might suggest ways that the application could be improved if appropriate, or you might think of something that you'd like to recommend perhaps as a next step in their development. So the validator will confirm the peer review process was robust, productive, thorough, helpful, and congratulatory. And we're asking the validator to be willing to confirm that. And the validator for this program is going to be a member of your local authority. So the local authority will be in touch with you to confirm which validator you've got, because you'll need to know that to add them on the system when you're completing your application. You need to type in the email address for both your peer mentor and your validator before you submit your application. So in February and March, you want to agree on that peer mentor, give them the peer mentor checklist that's downloadable from the D's portal resources. You will start to meet with your peer mentor as you progress. And as I said, we're sort of recommending perhaps 20 minutes each month for a chat and a conversation. But that's entirely up to you how you arrange that. It might be more, or it might be less, or it might be more frequent. And during across February and March, you'll be reviewing your practice, starting to collate evidence, attending the writing retreats, hopefully, taking part in the Intel Skills for Innovation Professional Development Suite training and progressing courses, and perhaps getting involved in Intel's community as well, and wider networking available through that. The peer reviewer and validator training will take place in February as well, February and March. And if you're not able to attend live, if you're a peer reviewer or validator, you can watch the recording. If you're an applicant and you're not a peer reviewer or validator, you're quite welcome to come along and attend that training as well and sit and listen if you find that that would be useful. And then moving into April, you'll again continue to attend the fortnightly writing retreats and progressing with your Intel training, continuing to meet with your peer mentor, and perhaps participating in Teams chats as well on our Digital Educator Awards channel. And you'll meet to discuss your evidence and application with your peer reviewer, leading up to the deadline of the 30th of April to submit your application. And then in the first half of May, peer reviews take place. In the second half of May, the validator will sign off on the awards as well. And then in June, we'll be coming together to celebrate achievements and share your success. So that is everything that I wanted to cover today. So we've got time now for any questions. So I just want to emphasize that we will be supporting you every step of the way during the award program. There'll be resources and guidance. There's a toolkit, there are checklists, there's our Microsoft channel, there's writing retreats, there's the Intel training. So lots of things to keep the momentum and help you keep progressing over the next few months leading to the deadline of the 30th of April. I appreciate a lot of information is being shared today. So questions I'm sure will come up as you start to progress, and we'll be happy to pick those up either on the Teams channel or in the writing retreats. You can come along and ask questions. In terms of the writing retreats as well, we'll be sharing invitations to those and the dates. But if it is that you can only pop in for the first 10 minutes, or you can't make all of it, or you can join us midway through, that's absolutely fine as well. They're completely flexible. The writing retreats run from 4 till 5:30. So you've got a window there if you want to block it out or if you want to use some of the time. Jill, you've got your hand up. Do you want to ask a question?
Hello, yes, thanks for all that information. Really loads of information to kind of try and digest now. But I guess, will there be any hints or tips for class teachers as to kind of parts of the course through Intel that would be really beneficial for us to really focus on? Because I think there's an awful lot of information there, and I'd really like to find out which bits would really benefit me and the class and my students. And I'm just not sure if there's a way of me streamlining that information so that I can really kind of deep dive into it so that I know I'm doing the right course.
Emmanuel, do you want to answer that?
I think I can understand that question, and I don't want to say let's wait till the first of the two webinars, but depending on the path you want to go, I think the great way to start first is to get onboarded, get onto the SFI program, complete registration, explore the content. If you're yet to decide, and I think this goes for every of the participants also, if you're yet to decide which of the track you want to take, educator, influencer, or leadership, a good place to start will be to start with the SFI courses and all the other courses and learning materials that are available. And then before long, I think you will get a sense of which of the three tracks best fit into your goals. But on our own end, we would prefer that you go through all of it in time, but we know that there is a time period to it between now and April. So it's best to prioritize which of the courses will. So I would say the first one, I know we can't share slides now, but the much of the first of the 5 frameworks applies to almost every of the categories. So you want to just start there as a great starting off point. But before long, by the time you join a couple of the retreats, I think you will get a sense of which of the learning tracks, which of the categories really will fit your objectives. I understand that, but it's not something that you will be able to fully decide now until you actually start the learning journey. Yeah.
Thanks, Emmanuel. And yeah, on the slides, there was a lot of courses detailed, but
Yeah,
they have been grouped into sections, which
yeah,
Emmanuel will talk about more in the webinars. So in answer to your question, as a teacher and wanting to sort of really hone your attention into specific courses, you can do that. The slides were covering courses that would be suitable for the Digital Educator Award and the Influencer Award and the Leader Award. So that narrows it down for you a little bit. If you're focusing on the
yeah.
Digital Educator
That's right.
Award,
Yeah,
there are courses specifically focused on that. And Intel have done lots of work to review all their courses and really sort of select the ones that are really targeted and useful for your role. But do, if you can, come along to Intel's webinar with Emmanuel, and you'll learn a lot more. And if you can't make that, it will be recorded, and there'll also be drop-in sessions as part of the writing retreats as well. There's a question about colleagues participating and if they can be each other's peer reviewer, or will that be a conflict of interest? Ideally, we'd like you to choose someone who's more senior to yourself, if possible, but it is possible for colleagues to peer review each other. So it sort of depends really on your circumstances in your school. There's no real hard and fast rules on the peer reviewer. As long as they meet the criteria of what a peer reviewer needs to do and that they're in a position to be able to do that. So the best bet would be to have a look at the peer reviewer checklist that's available on the website, and you'll see the criteria for the peer reviewer and what they how they meet the criteria to be a peer reviewer in that role. And if you meet that, then that's fine for you to choose each other. I'm not sure when you say about colleagues, about the two colleagues wanting to peer review each other, whether you are senior to each other or equal to each other. So if you're equal, it would be better if you could find somebody more senior to yourself. But if not, if that's just not possible within your school and you meet the peer reviewer criteria on the checklist, then that will be fine. Very quickly, I just wanted to reiterate as well that we also have a series of mini how-to videos as well, showing you every stage of the process, right from registering and selecting your award, which Anna briefly talked you through there, right through to submitting your evidence and working on your application, through to peer review and validation. So that they'll be added and made live to you shortly after the training. We've got those ready.
Subsequent questions to today's call, please email us, and we will be in touch tomorrow with the link to the webinar, the materials, and, as I mentioned, the next steps for each of the participants. So this is hopefully the first of many sessions where we can support you throughout this journey, and we look forward to your participation. Next week is the formal official launch, and we're very grateful to Andrew Hay and his team in Newmattle High School in Midlothian, where we'll be officially unveiling the programme. And keep an eye out next week for any sort of coverage and social media, and hopefully we will have many of you participating and talking about your participation in the programme, and creating a buzz around educators in Scotland and digital skills. So stay tuned and we will stay in touch, and thank you again for your participation this evening. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a lovely evening.